97.3 Citi FM. Relevant radio, always.
Hi, my name is Nathan Quao and welcome to Citi 97.3's preview of the Barclays English Premier League Matchday Live Match Week 35.
Kupenda condoms. Love right.
Before we get to the weekend's games, there's a raft of midweek games that must be taken care of. So we started off on Monday with Spurs demolishing Stoke at the Britannia. There was that very interesting one between Man City and Newcastle. But the one we start off with is the Merseyside derby, and Benjamin Nketsia comes back for this preview. Ben, nice to have you back. Let's start off with the Merseyside derby. Over the years, it's become a Liverpool game. And Everton have been poor this season. You get the sense that Liverpool and the club are beginning to find that rhythm. And maybe Everton might be the next team on their victims list.
I mean, Liverpool have been impressive and they look to have found their form just at the right time in the season. And the good thing about Liverpool now as a club is that a lot of people are not necessarily concerned with the results they are getting on the field, but they are more concerned with where the rebuilding process is going. So there's a feel-good factor about the club right now, and they think that, I mean, behind everything that has gone on, they can still make the Champions League if they can get through to the Europa League final. That aside, I think that you'd rarely find us discussing how European form will affect the team's league chances. I mean, whatever happens in there affects this one, but I feel that Liverpool never lack motivation for a Merseyside derby. It's never happened, and I feel that Jurgen Klopp will be relishing this one because for once he goes up against a team that doesn't care opening up and attacking, playing free-minded football. Roberto Martinez must take a step back and look at his Everton side, especially in a derby game of this nature. If he loses this game by a very bad margin, then the fans could really get on his back and they could possibly set in motion a process that could end up getting him fired, because Everton fans are passionate about this match. And this game, I mean, will be one of the possible highlight moments for them in a season that has gone very, very wrong. And I feel that, again, like I said, Martinez will want to adapt a strategy that will favor him coming up with a result, not necessarily
will he close up shop? I mean, we've never seen Everton close up in any kind of encounter, and yet they take on a Liverpool side that's rampant and can catch you open as and when they want. Do you think Everton will close up for this particular encounter? It's
interesting you should talk about Everton closing up shop, but I feel that you should first of all consider the attacking options that Liverpool present you with. Daniel Sturridge, Roberto Firmino. Now, they've been in a good vein of form recently. They are scoring goals. They seem to be getting that chemistry that Jurgen Klopp wants to see in his team finally. But for Everton, they barely have players that can help them to close up shop. A midfield of Gareth Barry and Mohamed Besic as well as McCarthy doesn't offer you the sort of steal you'd be looking for. And Gareth Barry broke the records for most Premier League yellow cards for an existing player, and that would possibly give you the sense that he's a combative player, but he's not a combative player anymore. And I think that that's what is hurting Everton in the pivotal part of the central midfield this season. I feel that for him as a player, he's offering more of a mentorship role, and it's hurting the team. They need to regulate his minutes next season. They need to look at his role and look at their midfield setup as a whole. I feel that that's where the problem comes from. The young centre-backs, Funes Mori and Stones, have had their own issues as well. Funes Mori appears to be too tall. He appears to be very clumsy. While he's very good in the air, but it doesn't really complement what Everton are doing as a team. So I think all those factors will come into play during the Merseyside derby. We expect a feisty encounter, and I mean, from what we've seen from Everton this season, a feisty encounter is likely to trigger a lot of defensive errors from them. I expect Liverpool to score quite a number of goals in this one. I just think that this could probably end with Liverpool 3, Everton 1. We could see one of those lopsided scorelines in this game.
So we'll see how it goes. It will be Jurgen Klopp's first ever Merseyside derby. For Roberto Martinez, he's performed poorly this season, and the fans are beginning to murmur and ask themselves whether or not they want the same man in charge ahead of next season, where they feel greatness will be coming to Everton. So that's the tie for Wednesday night. On Thursday, there's Arsenal versus West Brom. On Saturday, we start off with Man City versus Stoke. But there's another Liverpool encounter that tickles our fancy, and the opposition is Newcastle. And when Newcastle beat, Swansea the other weekend, and if you look at the points tally, if they put together a decent run, they'll get a great place. But then they come up against Liverpool, who, like we've made mention, are in this great form and could beat anybody they want at Anfield.
Certainly, and you'd also want to notice that Newcastle mathematically could come up to as high up as 14th on the table as things stand now. So, I mean, for Rafael Benitez, a first win on his birthday will certainly set in motion one of his weird tactical regimes to try and salvage something for Newcastle. I feel that as a team, they sort of have regretted not playing hard enough, not giving it their all in the opening stages of the season. But regret is the last thing you want to have on your mind when you have, 5 games left to the end of the season. I feel that they still have it within them to muster up some courage and some magic from somewhere to save their season. I mean, we've never doubted their quality with regards to technical ability in players this season. They've spent a lot of money as well, and it's one reason why they won't want to go now. A team with so much history, you feel that they should be contesting for higher laurels at this point in their club history, but I mean, they find themselves at this unfortunate end of the season. They will be affected though by a lot of the games that go on around them, because right as things stand now, Crystal Palace, Norwich City, Sunderland are all looking like they are up for this relegation battle. So I mean, whilst the battle is going on at the top of the table, the bottom teams are also having their own issues out there, and I feel that it will be hard fought. But Newcastle must prevail with their quality. It will be a heavy indictment on them financially and also mentally if they go down to the championship, because then you know that you had better talent than most teams but couldn't make the most of your talent. I feel that that alone should motivate them to go get a win. Liverpool were beating 3-0 in the first leg of this encounter, you remember, and we all felt that Newcastle were going to go on this lovely run of form. It never happened. They need to find that same tonic that they found against them in the first leg.
We'll see how that plays out. Anfield has become a dreaded place for teams recently, especially under Jurgen Klopp. So can Newcastle find an unlikely result to help them stay up, or will it be something that fizzles out after that great display at home to Swansea? But there's an FA Cup encounter between Man United and Everton. And Ben, just your quick thoughts on that one. United have had a wretched league season, but they seem to have found the magic of playing the cup competition. They come up against Everton, who are making an FA Cup semi-final for the first time since 2009. And yes, they faced the team they beat back then to get to a final against Chelsea.
Well, this could turn out to be the interesting story of two teams who are looking for cup glory to salvage their seasons. I mean, it's been wretched just like you pointed out, but for Roberto Martinez, I think that this is important for him. For Louis van Gaal, this is also immensely important. You get the sense that the security of both managers' jobs relies heavily on this game. United have proven that cup competitions are something that is part of the tradition of the team, and Van Gaal will certainly want to continue that. I mean, a young United side coming up against a pretty much naive and attack-minded Everton side. It will be free-flowing football again. United, you get the sense, will be more measured in their approach. They will have more balance because, I mean, one manager obviously has more experience with how to balance attack while getting the best out of your players at the same time. Marcus Rashford, I'm excited about him right now. I would want to see the young man play. He scored 4 Premiership goals already, and he's got a couple of them in the cup competitions as well. He scored a couple to get United to where they are currently. So you get the sense that United fans might not be so hard on Louis van Gaal after all if Marcus Rashford becomes part of United's FA Cup success at the end of the day. So for United, there's a lot at stake for them. For Everton as a club, a lot could happen with regards to what or how this season goes now.
So that's the FA Cup deviation from the weekend. There's another FA Cup game between Crystal Palace and Watford, but there's Leicester City taking on Swansea. Jamie Vardy is not playing that game, that we do know. They are playing at home. Can they get a win? Hopefully. And then they are rivals. Tottenham Hotspur will play on another Monday after beating Stoke when they are at home to West Brom. And all of a sudden, Spurs, after that display, will start to think that if Leicester should slip up at any point, they are very ready to take up the leadership of the league.
Well, Claudio Ranieri will not openly admit it, but I think that after dropping points against West Ham Leicester City will be feeling the heat, especially after watching that Stoke City mauling by Tottenham. So, I mean, Tottenham come into this obviously with a lot of confidence, and it looks as if all of a sudden unlikely leaders are emerging. Eric Lamela, he's contributing his quota, he's scoring in the final bit of the season, and I mean, if a manager ever needed a player to score, it's the final bit of the season. It's the crucial business stage of the season. Christian Eriksen, he's come up big for the team already. He's scored big goals. He's provided over 10 assists for the team this season. I feel that he might not give you the marquee numbers that others are providing in terms of the number 10 and the playmaking role, but we all know Christian Eriksen, young lad, he's a class act, Danish international. He's seen it on and done it all. He has so much experience, and he's pulling the strings for the team at the right time. You might not necessarily see his fingerprints all over the place, or you might not see him on the front covers of the newspapers like Harry Kane and Dele Alli, because they're the new kid on the block, English guys of course, but I mean, Eriksen is contributing his quota. The defense has been great. Mauricio Pochettino, we cannot talk about him enough, but he's been key to whatever Tottenham have done this season, and he will be key to how that game goes. He comes up against a defensive maestro in Tony Pulis. Tony Pulis' side are a very, very difficult side to beat. Never mind the fact that they are just about in the bottom half of the table.
But they're essentially safe.
Yes, exactly my point. I mean, he knows how to get a team safe, and he knows how to get a team to dry land like he's done with his team this season. Exactly why they are a dangerous side to play, especially at this point. They can stifle you, they can prevent you from playing your game on a good day, and I mean, guess what? They could just pick up a set piece in the dying embers and break your heart with a set piece this season. They are top 5 in the league with goals scored from corner kicks and crosses. So you know that this team can find ways to hurt you. And I think that Tony Pulis' side are one side Pochettino will be worried about, especially getting to this stage of the season. They can't afford a slip. A slip could all about end their title hopes.
So we'll see how that plays out. So that's the Monday night fixture between Spurs and West Brom. Leicester will play over the weekend against Swansea without Jamie Vardy. The two teams eyeing each other, and they should provide a lovely spark to match week 35 of the Barclays Premier League here on Citi 97.3.